To make life easier on Twitter, you can try scheduling tweets. Scheduling your tweets is simple and can increase your followers and engagement if done right. We'll go over the tools you can use and some strategies to follow when scheduling tweets. And now it's time for some more DIY SEO tips with Jennifer Rogina. Before we dig into how, let's talk about why. What are the benefits of scheduling your tweets? One of the primary benefits is consistency. When you schedule your tweets, you can post on a regular basis. This allows your audience to have a better understanding of when and how they can expect to hear from you. Another reason is similar to being able to be consistent is scheduling your tweets makes you less likely to neglect Twitter. Social media is time consuming, and when you have a business to run, it's easy to ignore social. When you schedule out your posts ahead of time, you can chunk your time to fit it in. So instead of being a disruptive activity that you do every hour or so, you can choose a window of time once a week. You can even try to do it monthly if that fits best with your schedule. And lastly, a benefit of scheduling your tweets is you can post them at the times and days that you will receive the highest impressions and engagement from your audience. There are a few different ways to do this. You can use a standalone tool that specifically looks for this data, such as Tweeriad, and I'll put the links in the show notes. You can use Tweeriad to find the optimal days and times and then schedule during those periods. Another way is you can export your Twitter data through the Twitter Analytics interface. Then you can analyze the data in a spreadsheet to determine the optimal days and times. Or there are some Twitter scheduling tools that have automatic scheduling included in their system, so your post will be set to send at the optimal times. We'll dig into those tools in more detail next, but Hootsuite and Buffer both have this option. Okay, so now let's talk about the tools that you can use to schedule out your tweets. So Hootsuite allows you to schedule posts on over 20 social networks, including Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. They make scheduling simple by including an auto schedule feature that chooses the best day and time for your audience. They also provide a drag and drop calendar view, so it's really easy to just reorganize your posts. They do have a free plan, but it's pretty limited. You can only connect up to 3 profiles, and you can only have a maximum of 30 scheduled posts. If those limits won't work for you, I'd recommend the professional plan. It's $30 a month, but it lets you schedule unlimited messages on up to 10 accounts. So the next option is Buffer, specifically the published product. So Buffer allows you to connect Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or Pinterest. And you can set up a schedule using data from your audience so that when you add a post, it can automatically be scheduled for the next slot in your set schedule. So similar to Hootsuite, the free Buffer Publish plan is pretty limited. They allow you to connect up to 3 accounts and set a maximum of 10 scheduled posts. And then their paid plan starts at $15 per month, but it only increases the scheduled posts to 100. So another option that you can use to schedule posts is directly through Twitter. So to do this, you need to go to Twitter for Business. Again, I'm going to have these links in the show notes, and then navigate to Twitter ads. You don't need to run any ads, but you will need to enter your credit card information to set up the account. Once you finish the setup, you can navigate to Creative and then Tweets and schedule out your tweets. For full details, look at the link in the show notes with the instructions from Twitter on exactly how to set this up. If Twitter is the only network you want to schedule your posts for, this could be a good solution. If not, you may want to try out Hootsuite or Buffer, the tools that we just talked about. And then another popular tool that you can use to schedule out your tweets is TweetDeck. This is a free tool, and it can be a really good solution if Twitter is the only network that you're interested in. This can also be useful if you have multiple Twitter accounts that you need to manage. TweetDeck is actually owned by Twitter, and with TweetDeck, you can easily schedule out your tweets without setting up a Twitter ads account. My favorite tool to schedule tweets is Hootsuite with the professional plan. Any of these tools we just discussed are good tools, and I've used them all at different times, but for me, I wanted to use a tool with an auto schedule feature to try and schedule my posts at optimal times for my audience. Both Buffer and Hootsuite have an auto schedule feature, but the system in Buffer is more rigid, whereas in Hootsuite, the experience feels more natural. In Buffer, you have preset times, so your posts are always at those times. In Hootsuite, it uses an algorithm to determine the best next time to post. So because of that, the posts are staggered in a way that feels very natural. The combination of the auto-scheduling, drag and drop content calendar, multiple social networks, and unlimited scheduled posts is why I went with Hootsuite. So all of these tools let you edit your posts. Don't be scared to schedule ahead. If things change, you can always rearrange or edit your posts later. Okay, then let's just go over a few tips you might want to follow when you're scheduling out your tweets. With Twitter, you can post much more often than other social networks before you start to annoy people. Some people say you should try to tweet at least 14 times per day. Instead of trying to hit a specific target, I normally aim for quality over quantity. So I try to post content that is meaningful and important for my audience instead of blasting articles that no one needs to read. Even though I know the data shows you get more followers when you tweet more, I've been on the other side of it. I know how it is to follow a company you care about, and then they tweet so much junk that you can't sift through it to find the content you actually care about. I'd rather have a few highly engaged people than thousands of people who do nothing more than increase my follower count metric. If someone cares enough about my brand to sign up for the text notifications, I certainly don't want to annoy them. I want to be a valuable resource on whatever channel people want to follow me on. And so I tweet as many times a day as I need to get the right message out to my audience. Okay, so another tip is to remember to engage people. When you schedule out your tweets, it can be really tempting to just set it and forget it. Scheduling does give you a lot of flexibility with the time you spend on social, but don't forget to talk to people and not just at people. If people comment on your posts, respond. If people share your posts, like them. And it's okay to schedule out prompts to ask your audience questions. Start a conversation. Don't only blast them with promotional content. And on to the next tip. Remember your real life events. When you schedule tweets, you still want to come across as genuine. You want your followers to understand you're a real person. If you have a public speaking engagement or a meeting or a public event where some of your followers may know you're there, don't schedule tweets during this time. You don't want to have a tweet go out when you're speaking at a conference about something unrelated. It just makes it blatantly clear that you scheduled your tweet ahead of time and didn't put much thought into it. Of course, if you're tweeting from an account for your brand instead of a personal account, this isn't as big of an issue. Just think about your real life obligations and make sure your tweets support them and don't conflict. And then lastly, be sensitive of current events. If there's a tragedy or big news event, you may want to pause your tweets. Be aware of what's happening in the world around you and understand that sometimes tweeting about your company may not be the right message during difficult times. Even if the current issue isn't directly related to your industry, you might want to take a minute to be human. Be sensitive of others by changing up your regular content to express empathy for those affected by the situation. Scheduling your tweets can make Twitter much easier to handle. If used wisely, it can also increase the effectiveness by scheduling at optimal times for your audience. Just remember to be yourself and engage with your audience whenever you can. Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed this, please subscribe. This episode was brought to you by ClearPath Online, a DIY SEO tool for your website.